We will start with fractional banking. Now, if your economic is very contracted, if you have if your consumption levels are very low, then you can have fractional banking, okay? But it should be subjected to this ecological footprint and biocapacity thing. Now, if you take a country like Singapore cannot have a sustainable economy because its population density is very high. Singapore will always have its ecological footprint much higher than its biocapacity. Even that, you can have steady state economics after you reach a certain level of economic consumption. So, first thing you have to get rid of is fractional banking after you come to a certain level of consumption. So when you remove fractional banking, that means your tendency would be not to be expand, and that means taking of loans will be less emphasized, de-emphasized. Okay? So when you take loans, who benefits from that? Mostly the financial sector. What is the financial sector? Financial sector, if you take the tropic level of money, that is, mostly based on biological kind of thinking. It's also the energy pyramid. So actually there is physics in it. There is a physics part in it. So you can say it's biophysical aspect. So financial sector is, the way I label it as predator economics. So when your economic reaches a certain level, you have to de-emphasize on the financial sector. You have to go back to the agriculture level as much as possible if you want to be more sustainable. Now when it comes to fiat currencies, you can print money. Okay? You can print money at will, but after some point, there won't be takers for it because people will use confidence. But what is happening in America? If you take the present regime, they are manipulating the stock market and some people earn money, right? And it is bordering on illegal activity, right? The ruling people are manipulating the stock market. Now, when you can print money, you can direct your money towards. It's much easier to direct your money towards certain industries. So what they are doing is mostly stock market, because now you can buy back your stock. But earlier it was banned in America that a company could not buy its own stocks. And second thing, it is directed to finances, it is directed to real estate, and also now it is directed towards AI. Now AI is used. It is alleged that AI is used in murder industry. I use the hyperbole to say that it is genocide. When you murder people, it is not always genocide, but it has the element of genocide. Now, the Americans bombed fishermen. Fishermen belong to Venezuela, and some of the fisher people, when they were shipwrecked, they bombed again. But if you take the law, when somebody is shipwrecked, you can't bomb them again. That is the law. You can be a narco-terrorist or anybody else, but you can't bomb. So American military has moved away from these certain conventions, and they are promoting murder. I label it as genocide, but that is murder is not always genocide. And if you take this killing of the children in children in Iran, they were hit twice, and it is alleged that that target was picked by the AI. We know the role of AI in Palestine. And now we are going to have some closer cooperation between America and Israel when it comes to military activities. So that means there is going to be an element of genocide when it comes to military activity. Okay, so the genocide is a part and parcel of Western civilization, whether it was in Australia, in Canada, in America, even in South America, in New Zealand. So genocide is a part of it. So I am saying you have an element of genocide, but not all murders are genocide. Okay, so I am extravagating it, but I am going to use the term genocide instead of labeling it as military defense complex. So first thing you have to do that. First thing you have to go for 100% get rid of fractional banking after your level of consumption comes to a certain level. Second thing, or even worse, is you have to get rid of fiat currency. So if you can't print money, then you can't direct your money towards the real estate. You can direct your money to finance, because when you do finance, it's easy to reap. You can direct that industry towards certain activities and reap money. So you can enrich the top, right? So that means you have to get rid of fiat currencies also. Okay? If you get rid of fiat currencies, then I don't think America can go to war at will, because they always go to war. And the American bomb machine, you have an element of genocide in it. And what America is going to suffer, there is going to be blowback, and that genocidal industry is going to hit America and Britain and the West maybe in a different capacity, but whatever you promote in Palestine is going to hit back at the West, and it will come in the name of ICE, or it can come in different forms. It may not be totally genocide, but especially the murder thing will come back, and with it will come back the censorship. So when you have censorship, that will be bad for your economy, right? In the long run. So we have discussed two things: fractional banking and fiat currencies, right? Now, even if you don't have fiat currencies, you can direct your resources to a certain sector, okay? But that has to come, then it has to come, it will be difficult. It has to come to a congressional act or parliamentary act to allocate money. But if you have these fiat currencies, you can do it on the slide. So that's why you should try to get rid of fiat currencies, and also you have to defang the financial sector, because you are concentrating resources at the top. So it is in contradiction to the tropic level of money, right? You have, like, at the very low you have agriculture, then you have light industries, so forth, and at the top you have finance. So if you don't have fiat currencies, then the financial sector will be de-emphasized. So, and the way I label it as predatory economics. So we are we are discussing two things. Okay? Fractional banking and fiat currencies. So I label the fiat currency economics as toilet paper economics. So toilet paper economics has used in a different context. I use it in a different way. If a country has fiat currencies, I call it toilet paper, because you can print money at will, but technically you can't do that, because if you lose confidence in the system, then you can't print money. Nobody is going to take the money off. So I think that is going to happen to the American treasury bills. I think people are rejecting the American treasury bills, and we are heading towards gold. And gold and silver, I have stated earlier, it is what I would call entropic capital, right? So we discussed two things. Okay, we discussed three things: fiat currencies, fractional banking, and there is the possibility of Western countries having a genocide economy. I label it as genocide. It is, it is, maybe the correct term is murder, but if you are directing towards, especially if you are directing towards your military activity towards the Palestinians, whether it is using AI or otherwise, then it has an element of genocide. Now AI industry is very dangerous. AI industry has very positive effects. I will talk only briefly on the AI industry. The negative effects, that is 1984 and Animal Farm. So what is predicted in 1984 and Animal Farm books, it is been implemented using AI, right? Now it is mentioned that when this Iranian girls were killed, they used AI, right? So and if you take the digital currency, with digital currency you will lose all your freedom. The government will know exactly where you spend your money, whether you spend your money on a prostitute or not. The government will know, and they can have a social system to monitor your digital currency. The digital currency, I am only emphasizing the negative aspects of it, right? I mean, you have positive aspects, because the digital currency, the people who are involved in it, they respect the positive aspects. They want to say that we are moving out of the control of the central government. Okay, now there was a report saying that America has confiscated some digital currency which was in possession of Iran. So digital currency is not what it is supposed to be. So we discussed many things: fiat currencies, fractional banking, okay, de-emphasizing of the financial sector, right, and especially the AI industry. The AI industry will be used to control and dominate people, and using the social media thing, the government will use AI to control people, and all your personal freedoms will be lost, and even digital currencies are not safe. If America has confiscated some of Iranian digital currency, which was held by the Iranians, then the governments have a way of confiscating digital currency depending on where you have stored your digital currency. So we talked about little bit of genocide, and some people may not say this is not genocide, this is murder. But I think they are moving towards genocide. Now, if you take the World Economic Forum, they want to reduce world population, right? Why? Because if you take the global biocapacity and global ecological footprints, there is a mismatch, right? You have the ecological footprints are very high. So one way to get rid of that, reduce the ecological footprint, is to reduce the population density, right? Now, when you want to reduce the population density, it's a good idea. But if you are using genocide or you are using wars to reduce that, then it is not that good idea. If it's done voluntarily, then I think it's a good idea. Because so when you take genocidal industry, there is some parallel thinking between WEF, World Economic Forum. Although World Economic Forum may not be using violent means to achieve that. So it's a debatable point, but there is a certain amount of overlapping between the genocidal industry and the thinking of WEF, World Economic Forum. Okay? So I touched upon certain things. I touched upon fiat currencies, fractional banking, right? Especially AI, and genocidal industries. Nobody used that term, genocidal industries. They used military defense complex, and that's a term which is, that's a labeling which is at least 50 years old. But I think this has an element of genocide in it. If you take Edward Snowden and if you take Julian Assange, then there is some level of murdering associated with the establishment in America and Europe, and the West has been ruling the world, and they will not let go. And I think when push comes to shove, I think genocidal industry will be a part of the Western economic thinking, whether you like it or not, right? So, and we talked about this. So if you look at the economics, if you look at what is taught economics in Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford, all that, they are talking of economic growth for everyone and well, that means there's something wrong. There's something wrong with the economics they are teaching. That may have something to do with this, your tendency to dominate other people. And if you don't accept steady state economics, then there's something wrong with it. That means you can make the thing more efficient, but overall your consumption levels goes up after you have some kind of Carnot cycles and things like that, more efficient machinery. After that, you have to increase the energy consumption. Earlier you might be able to relatively reduce the energy consumption by making your system more efficient. But after you reach certain levels, then you can't do that. So I think people have to reject these economics taught by orthodox economics taught by Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford, and so forth. Right? If you want to go for a more sustainable economic system, then you have to go for sustainable steady-state economics. But if you take countries like, again I'm mentioning Singapore, then you can't do that, because if you try to go beyond certain, because of your population density are very high, effectively they can't have a steady-state economy. Their economics will be, in a sense, the economics will be non-sustainable, and that will be fueled. Why you have this Singapore and things like economics are there, because you have the fiat currencies. If you don't have fiat currency, Singapore economy will not be in this mode of consumption. Their consumption level will be very low, right? Because you can have reserve fiat currencies, then you can print dollars, and if your economy is tied to the dollar system, then you can consume more than what is allowed by nature. So if you get rid of fiat currencies, then countries like Singapore and they will be affected much. So I taught a lot of things. I talked about AI. There is negative aspect of AI because a lot of people talk of the positive aspect of AI. And I talked about fractional banking. I talked about fiat currencies. Then I talked about genocidal aspects of military defense complex, right? And I talked about steady state economics, and I also said that if you want to have more just system, then you have to de-emphasize the financial sector. Now, if you get out of the loan system, right? If you have steady state economics, then loans will be de-emphasized. That means the extraction by the financial sector will be reduced. So I touched upon a lot of things, and I said the economics taught in orthodox economics taught in Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford is mostly irrelevant.